there, man. Give me a break.
Wide open. The hell are you doing?
Come on, Georgia.
Kill him! Kill him! Kill him! Let's go! Woo!
Donald Trump! Donald Trump! Donald Trump! Oh my God! The hostile takeover of Donald Trump on Vince McMahon has happened at WrestleMania 23.
Let's go, Brandon.
My name is
All right, welcome into the Section YY8 podcast. We've been away for a couple weeks, but we're back. Negative Nease here in the Section YY8 studios, joined by Big Montana this week. What's going on, Big Montana?
What's up, buddy? How are you?
Oh, I'm fantastic. The Vols are in the Super Regionals for the second year in a row, and the basketball team's recruiting at a high level. Football's looking good this fall. Men's tennis went to the Final Four. I mean, life's good right now in Knoxville.
UT Sports are climbing the mountain almost to the peak.
So we got a lot to get to on this week's show, so I'm just going to get right into it. We're recording this on Tuesday night, June 7th, and I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the 23rd anniversary of the reveal of the greater power in WWF. Do you have it? How old were you in 1999?
In 99, I was 11.
So do you remember, were you able to watch it back then? Do you remember this at all?
Oh yeah.
So,
I remember it live. I wasn't blessed enough to be able to watch the pay-per-view the night before, or I think it was the night after pay-per-view, right?
No, so
Or it was leading up to the pay-per-view.
Yeah, it was leading up to the King of the Ring, and
Yes.
they ended up, it was Austin versus Vince McMahon, Shane McMahon in a ladder match, and whoever got the briefcase from the top of the ladder got control of the WWF. So this went on for like months. Like, I think starting back in like January, the Undertaker started talking about this greater power that he answered to. And he was doing this really demonic, he was a heel top. He tied Stephanie McMahon to
Crucifix or his crucifix.
or his symbol or something, and tried to marry her. And they had the corporation versus the Ministry of Darkness. And then there was the Union, had like Big Show and Shamrock. And I mean, they had all these factions going at each other, but then Stone Cold was just kind of out there on his own. But the greater power was who the Undertaker answered to and got all of his directions and pointers from. But McMahon and Austin were lined up against Shane, who joined the corporation with the Ministry of Darkness to make the corporate ministry. And the week before this, I remember they got Austin, tied him up in the ropes, and the whole corporate ministry was out there, and they were on a knee, and the greater power walked out and only showed his face to Austin. And Austin like started going berserk because he saw Vince McMahon. And then the next week it was live, because back then they recorded 1 week and then 1 week was live.
Yeah.
So the next week I had a summer league baseball game. I tweeted this earlier today. We played like 6 o'clock or something, and we like all of us had to run home, see who the greater power was. I think by the time we got home, it was already revealed. So we had to wait till the end of the show, stop the VCR from recording, rewind it, and watch it all the way back through. There was no DVR where you could just start where it was at, but it was Vince McMahon, and he said, "It's me, Austin," and Jim Ross with one of the great lines ever says, "Oh, son of a bitch." Just fantastic. And the King was going nuts too.
Yes.
Because he called Vince McMahon called everybody fools.
You're
Everybody
a fool,
was everybody was a fool. And Jerry Lawler says, "You're a fool, JR." Just if you don't know what we're talking about, go on YouTube or search it online. Look up the Greater Power reveal. It was this night 23 years ago, June 7th, 1999, at the then Fleet Center in Boston, now the TD Ameritrade Center or Garden, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But
wasn't it the same night that Stephanie and Linda come out and said they sold their shares or whatever?
Yeah, they gave up their 50% to Stone Cold Steve Austin and made him the CFO of the WWF.
Right.
And then that's when he lost it at the King of the Ring a few weeks later.
Yeah.
And that was when the briefcase got raised. He went to get it, and every time Austin went to get it, the briefcase would rise up. They don't make them like that anymore, do they? No,
times were a lot simpler back then.
Back in the 90s and the early 2000s.
Oh, Attitude Era was something special.
So negative Nease and Big Montana here. No Gavin again this week. What's your thoughts about Gavin bailing on us yet again this week? He says he can't bring anything to the table with baseball.
I mean, Gavin is a brand. He needs to start acting like a brand, and he needs to come support his friends.
I mean, people tune into this show to hear him.
I mean, we have thousands of listeners every week.
I mean, the ratings plummet when he's not on the show. We go from 50 to like 30.
Him and his cat.
We got to get Gavin. I tried all day to get Gavin. He refuses. He says we're good without him. He says he'll be back for football when we start talking football. And I said, well, we can talk football. No response. So, Gavin, we need you back on the show. The ratings are suffering. We need your wit and your jokes about Kentucky.
Yes.
Back to the mines.
I mean, if he just says back to the mines a couple of times in the episode, he's brought enough to the table.
I mean, we have plenty of stuff to make fun of Kentucky. They didn't make the NCAA tournament. So they got their hopes up in the SEC tournament a couple of weeks ago. But speaking of the SEC tournament, you and I went down there to Hoover. Tennessee won the SEC tournament championship to go along with the SEC regular season championship. And the title of this week's show is, and I borrowed this from Justin Grubb, who texted me this, longtime listener to the show, who texted me this after the game and said, Tennessee is a team so good that not even Nease can curse them.
That's true.
And that held up this past weekend because I was fortunate enough, a listener of the show, Tommy Raines, had an extra ticket, called me up and said, hey, let's go to the game. So got to see the Campbell game Saturday night and the Georgia Tech game Sunday night, which was probably the loudest baseball game, especially in the ninth inning, that I've ever been to. But thoughts on we haven't been on here since the SEC tournament. Thoughts on the championship game?
A really good experience. Not a bad drive down there. We got tickets extremely cheap. A little hot, but all in all, a great trip.
Yeah, it got a little hot there in the seventh and eighth inning. It started wearing on us.
We thought we were slick and getting a shaded spot, but the sun moved pretty quick, and we were out there in it.
Not a good move on our part, but it was all right. I've been hard.
Tennessee, though, I mean, they played great. Couple of things happened at the end of the game where, I felt like we kind of got a little sloppy, but we had the game in hand, and it was nice to witness a championship in person. So that was cool.
I was telling, I think you and my uncle was there too, Dr. Nease, and I was telling some others, that is the first, and probably for you too, I don't count Eastern Division championships or regular season. That was the first championship I've ever seen Tennessee win in person. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I've been to a lot of games, and I know you've been to more than me, but yeah, I've never, of course, all the games that I've really went to in the past, as an adult, Tennessee's kind of sucked and everything. So just never.
I've been to 3 SEC football championship games.
Yeah, I've been to 1.
I went to the SEC tournament Chris Lofton's senior year, and I really thought Tennessee would win it that year because we had planned to stay all weekend. But that was the year the tornado ripped the Georgia Dome apart, and then they moved it across town to Georgia Tech. We didn't get to stay, and then they lost to Arkansas. And I think Georgia ended up winning that tournament and wasn't going to be even in the NCAA tournament. But, yeah, it was cool to go down and see Tennessee win a title in something finally. So, and it was cool to see Tennessee last weekend advance. I know it wasn't a championship, but advance to the super regionals for the second year in a row. And they had to do it. It wasn't easy. The first game was a cakewalk, 10-0 against Alabama State.
Right.
But Saturday night, Campbell can hit, and they hit the cover off the baseball. Tennessee just had too much for them. And then Sunday night, Tennessee really had to battle. They really struggled at the plate most of the game. We were talking there at the game and then talking with others, kind of undisciplined, wild swings, impatience at the plate. But this is like every game this year for the most part. They've been able to battle through it and figure it out. And they just have that knack for finding a big hit when they need it. And they got them in bunches.
Yeah.
There in the 9th inning and blew it open, which I'm glad they did because Georgia Tech brought the tie in 9-6, and Georgia Tech brought the tying run to the plate in the 9th inning, and they were the home team again.
Yeah, which is totally bogus.
Yeah, I'm getting a little aggravated with, we talked about it there in Hoover. Tennessee wasn't the home team 2 games in a row. And then this weekend, 2 games in a row again, we weren't the home team. And I get the rule they've got in place. I just don't like it. I mean, what's the point of seeding teams if you're not going to use that? I don't understand.
Yeah.
But and from what I've read and heard and talked to people, it was voted on by the coaches. Well, why in the world would the coaches vote yes on making the hire? It doesn't benefit 3/4 of the teams that get in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
I mean, Georgia Tech had played, I think, 2 home games and 1 visitor. I don't know what the deal was, but Tennessee and Georgia Tech are basically tied, but they gave it to Georgia Tech. I don't know. I think they played more games. I don't really know. I don't understand it, but I just don't like it, especially in the SEC tournament. They did it to Tennessee on Championship Sunday. What is the point of being the 1 seed if you're not going to be the home team?
Right. And like you said, like what coach, what coach would pick to give Tennessee any advantage right now besides Tony Vitello?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they have a rules committee in the NCAA that votes on this stuff and helps put it in place. And why would they vote for the 1 seed or the higher seeds to host? Because it doesn't benefit. There's only 16 teams that it benefits, and that could go against them one year, but more than likely there's only 16 teams out of 64 that get that opportunity, and then only 8 once you get to the super regional. So, I mean, I get it from that point, but I think it's bogus, and they got to get rid of that.
I agree.
So Tennessee takes down Alabama State, takes down Campbell, the Camels, who those boys can hit. I'm not going to make fun of them. Man, those guys can hit the baseball. They stumbled a little bit Sunday there against Georgia Tech and got routed, but they had me nervous the other night. Those guys can hit.
I'll tell you another guy too, that pitcher who come in and pitched for Georgia Tech, the Hoss, whatever his name was, he was dealing there. I mean,
he was
if he had an extra inning in him, we may not have won that game.
He was shoving it. I mean, he was putting 98, 99 and had a good breaking ball. I mean, that guy was he was putting it out there and said, "Here, hit it. See if you can hit it." And most of the night we didn't.
We weren't. Yeah,
And Lawson really crapped the bed quite a bit there. This weekend.
He's done that a couple of times this year. He had plenty of time, but he gets in a hurry. And I think that one Luke could have probably, I don't know, could have caught it, I guess, but I don't know.
Well, I think there was the last one there in the 9th inning. There was runners on first and second. Ball hit to him, and he looked to second, and Ortega wasn't there. And then he had to regroup and throw to first. He threw it a little flat-footed, and it was late, and it wasn't a good throw. So those other two were that first one was just an awful throw, and the second one was just as bad. But yeah, I hope he can clean that up, because he had one Saturday night too. So I mean, that's not been an issue. But
he had a couple of hits on Saturday night, right?
Yeah, he hit a home run.
He had a home run, yeah. So he
I mean, he had a good series. I mean, he hit the ball well. That's
right.
But fielding, I mean, it really should have been 9-4. It was 9-6. I mean, he gave him 2 runs, because those 2 runs that scored were with 2 outs. So
yeah.
So Tennessee, Notre Dame this weekend. The Fighting Irish come to Knoxville.
The Vatican versus the villains.
The Pope versus Vitel. I don't know who, but
who knows? Hey, what'd you think about Beck's middle finger to the outfield?
I love it.
I thought it was hilarious.
I was probably doing the same thing to the outfielder when it went over his head.
I was watching that live, and I said, "Oh God, he's run underneath it. He's not going to catch it." And all of a sudden, boom, went right over his head, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" And
as soon as Beck hit it, the center fielder, who I think is the coach's son for Georgia Tech, you could see him. He's like shuffling his feet, and he kind of froze. And that, as an outfielder, you're taught to go back first and then come in. And he, of course, on line drives, it's hard, especially at night. It's hard to tell, but he froze and kind of stutter stepped, and he had no momentum going backwards, and it cost him. I mean, he needed 2 or 3 more steps to get that, and he couldn't get to it. And it was hit so hard, that was a problem too for him.
I said last week that we were going to be worried about our hitting going into this, and now it's kind of turned in we're worried about our pitching. Our starting pitchers kind of left us to think about a lot. I can't remember who even pitched. Was it Beam was the one that got taken out, right?
We had Beam on Sunday, who I can look up the stats. I mean, you're right. The starters did not throw well. Beam threw on Sunday, and then you had Dolander on Saturday, who
he got rocked pretty quick too.
I mean, neither one of them made it through the 4th inning.
Yeah.
I'll look those stats up. Yeah, Georgia Tech, good hitting team.
Yeah.
Campbell, good hitting team. So, I mean, I'm not concerned about those guys, but they did not have good outings.
Well, I mean, like, in theory, I mean, we're playing. I know there's several SEC teams still in this, but I mean, like, we're not playing any bad teams right now. They're all here for a reason.
If I can find the stats. So this is against Campbell on Saturday night. Chase Dolander. I need the pitching stats. Where are they? Well, as soon as I find them, I will let y'all know. They did not throw well. I mean, let's just say they did not.
There's a reason they didn't throw 6 innings.
Oh, here we go. Okay. Dolander. Well, I thought I had it. Oh, here we go. Dolander went 2 2/3 innings, 6 hits, 4 runs, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. Not great, but Cannell came in out of the bullpen, saved the day. He went 4
he was
innings.
MVP that night for sure.
Yeah, 4 innings, 3 hits. He had 2 earned runs on a home run, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, but he kind of quietened things down. And then Burns came in, held the line, and then Redmond Walsh got the save. And then looking at the Georgia Tech game on Sunday night, you had Drew Beam go 3 1/3 innings, 3 hits, 4 runs, 2 earned runs, 4 walks, 2 strikeouts. Good thing was Dolander threw 70 pitches, Beam threw 66. So they didn't throw a whole lot of pitches. And then you had Mabry came in kind of playing the role of Kirby Cannell, who threw really well, 3 2/3 innings, 5 hits, no earned runs, 5 strikeouts. And Redmond Walsh came in and got the win, 2 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs, both earned, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. He was a little shaky there in the ninth, but still got the win.
Done.
So, I mean, yeah, starters need to be a little bit better, but I mean, that's this time of year, you're going to run into good baseball teams, and Georgia Tech's not great. I wouldn't say they're great. They have holes where Tennessee doesn't really have any holes. Right. Maybe at a leadoff hitter, but I mean, Georgia Tech challenged Tennessee. They played good baseball, and Tennessee just beat them. They're just better than they are.
Yeah. Vitello pitch hitting some guys in the game on Sunday, and looked like it was some brilliant moves there by Coach Tony.
Yeah, I thought. And it ended up working out. I thought that he should have pinch hit Dickey for Stevenson in the 7th inning. He pinch hit for him in the 9th. Dickey gets a hit.
Yeah.
They end up scoring 6. But I thought they could have got some runs there in the 7th inning. Stevenson came up, ended up striking out, I think.
Right.
But ended up working out. But, yeah, he made some moves that paid off like they have all year for him.
I agree. I tell you what, I looked at how the bracket aligns, and I really want to play Arkansas in the championship game if we make it there.
Oh, in Omaha?
Yeah, I really want to. That's the only time we'll see them is in the championship game, but I think that would just be poetic justice to end it in Omaha against them.
Yeah, I was talking to some other people this week. I don't know how much of the NCAA tournament you've watched, but it's been good the last few years, but it's been really good this year.
Yeah, I saw a thing today, and I think they asked Vitello about it, where, like, if you were going to pick right now, which has been more fun the last couple of years, the NCAA, World Series baseball tournament or March Madness. And I think March Madness is better just because of the gambling and all that, but I really love watching college baseball playoffs, or not playoffs, but the tournament. It's extremely fun and a very underrated sport.
The atmospheres are pretty good. The games are, for the most part, you don't know what you're going to get. You could get a pitching duel, or you're going to get there's been like 29-12 games, 19-1.
Right.
But then you turn on the next game and it's 2-1. So it's just all over the place.
I've always watched the tournament, even before UT was in it and being good. I just enjoy it. It's high level baseball.
Yeah, I've always watched it. I never really paid attention. I would watch it, but I wouldn't
wasn't invested, but I enjoyed watching it.
I wasn't going to stay up and watch it till 12-1 in the morning, but I did this past week. I got home the other night from the Campbell game, and Texas A&M was playing TCU, and that was a great game. I looked over and it was like 1:30, 1:45 in the morning. So I had no clue. Anyway. But by the way, we haven't been on since before the SEC tournament. How late did we stay up all those nights watching? I think everybody did, but
like the night. Let's see. It was Friday night was like 3 a.m.
I think it was 3 a.m.
And then the Saturday night was like 1:30.
something like 1:30, something.
Yeah.
No,
and
it
we
was
got-
2. You left here at 2 because we were
Yeah.
going to Hoover, and I said, see you in 7 hours because we left at
Exactly.
9. So,
Exactly.
I mean, I was running on fume. When we got home that night, I took a shower and went to bed. I was gassed. I was glad. I was glad. Well, the next morning I went and played golf. So I was.
Yeah, I was supposed to go to the lake on Memorial Day, but I chose against it. It was a veteran move by me to lay on the couch and recover from my wild weekend.
But it was worth it. The Vols won a title.
Oh,
yeah. So Tennessee plays Notre Dame this weekend, Lindsey Nelson Stadium, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Friday at 6:00, Saturday at 2:00, and then Sunday, hopefully, hopefully we don't
no
play
Sunday.
Sunday.
Yeah.
But if we do, it's TBD. So
We got to win that first game.
oh yeah, got to win Friday night. That sets the
first game. Yeah, I don't want to have to win 2 in a row.
Notre Dame in their region, they were in the Statesboro region, which is where Georgia Southern was hosting. So they took down Texas Tech, UNC, Greensboro, and Georgia Southern. Georgia Southern was the 16 seed, obviously, because they would have faced the 1 seed. But if you read about Notre Dame, a lot of people thought they should have been a top 16 seed and hosting, but they're not. So it's not going to be a cakewalk. I think it's really reading about Notre Dame, it's 2 completely different styles where they pitch and play defense, and we do both of those things too, but we also slug the baseball. And they don't really do that. Just looking at some of their numbers there, Tennessee bats .311, has a .311 batting average, which ranks 11th in the country. Notre Dame's .295, which ranks 51st. They rank 51st in total hits. Tennessee's 8th. Home runs, Notre Dame is tied for 78th. Tennessee's obviously number 1. We have 150. They have 68. On base percentage, Notre Dame is number 122 in the country. Tennessee's number 4. But here's where it's kind of even. Notre Dame whip, walks, and hits per innings pitched. They're number 10 with a 1.27 whip. Tennessee's number 1 in the country, 0.98. ERA, Tennessee's number 1. Notre Dame's number 7, a 3.82 ERA. Tennessee's 2.38. Strikeouts per 9 innings. Tennessee's 10th in the country. Notre Dame's 4th. So they strike a lot of guys out, 11 per 9 innings. They are fielding percentage. Tennessee's 13. Notre Dame's 14. So fielding and defense, they're right there with each other. But offensively, Tennessee dwarfs them. And I think that's where Tennessee has a huge advantage this weekend. Can Tennessee's power hitting get to Notre Dame's solid pitching staff, which we struggled a little bit for several innings against Campbell and Georgia Tech?
Right. I think our biggest obstacle is keeping guys off base. It's not give them, a home run's not going to beat us. 3-run home run will. I think that's, we can't let guys, we can't have, 2 on, no outs like we had this weekend. That's just a recipe for disaster. And eventually it'll catch up with you and bite you in the ass.
A lot of high stress pitches for Tennessee. And that was part of the problem with the starting pitching. They got traffic on base, guys they were having to worry about. We don't really stop teams from running very well, but Tennessee just needs to come out Friday night, set the tone early, step on them early, and I'm assuming Blade Tidwell will start the game, let Blade do his thing. He's throwing really well right now. He's the ace of this team right now. I know Dolander's SEC pitcher of the year, future number 1, possibly draft pick, but Tidwell right now, I mean, the other night he was just toying with Alabama State.
Yeah. Who do you think who'd you say is going to throw Friday night?
I would assume Blade Tidwell starts Friday night, and then they come back with Dolander on Saturday, and then Beam. And then you have the option of Beam and Burns on Sunday, or they've been using Beam out of the bullpen, so he could throw multiple days if they need him. But then you've got Cannell, Walsh. They haven't thrown Joyce much lately. I don't think they much trust that kid right now because he can be so wild and sporadic. But
he was at the SEC tournament, that Florida game. He was all over the place, throwing 103 miles an hour, but
yeah,
didn't know where it was going.
Yeah, his first warm-up pitch went to the backstop.
Yeah.
But then they didn't even throw Camden Sewell on this weekend, but I think they were saving him for a game Sunday if they possibly had him, which they needed
They had to, yeah.
They would have Burns and maybe Tidwell if they had to come back Sunday, but
yeah,
it was going to be Sewell and bullpen from there. But
just take care of business Friday, Saturday. Go to church on Sunday.
I heard that. Well, hopefully Tennessee takes care of business Friday night, Saturday night. I was looking at the bracket here for the rest of the NCAA tournament. Over on the other side, you've got Stanford taking on UConn. UConn comes out of the Maryland region. They beat Maryland, Long Island, and Wake Forest. Maryland was the 15 seed. So UConn travels all the way across the country to number 2 Stanford. Then you've got, this should be a good series, number 10 North Carolina hosting Arkansas.
Yeah.
Arkansas took down Grand Canyon, Oklahoma. This was at Oklahoma State and Missouri State. North Carolina took down Hofstra, VCU, and Georgia. Then you've got the Battle of Mississippi. Ole Miss travels down the road to Hattiesburg to take on Southern Miss. My cousin actually took her kids to the that live in Louisiana, actually took their kids to the LSU Southern Miss elimination game on Monday.
Nice.
So
nice.
I watched most of that game. I didn't get to see the end of it, but
did they get their T-shirt from the tournament that your uncle got them?
I don't think we've sent it yet, but they'll be getting it soon.
Good.
Hopefully.
Good.
But so I've got 2 cousins. My first cousin lives in Louisiana, and we'll be down there this fall for the LSU Tennessee game, but she has 2 kids. They're 8 and 6 or 8 and 5, something like that. They wear we get them Tennessee stuff all the time. They've got a Peyton Manning jersey, but they wanted a SEC tournament shirt, and we couldn't find one that was small enough for them. So we're just going to send them a SEC tournament championship shirt. But they wear Tennessee stuff all the time. But one of them at the Southern Miss LSU game, one had Southern Miss stuff on because that's where my cousin graduated from, and then the other one had LSU stuff on because that's where their dad graduated from. So but they had a really good time. Got autographs from both teams. So but Southern Miss,
speaking of alumni, shout out to Walter State's baseball team. They placed 3rd in the JUCO World Series this past weekend.
Don't we know a guy up there?
Long listener of the show, Mark Allen Bounds is the pitching coach, and I think he's a recruiting guy for them too.
He is the recruiting coordinator for Walter State.
Doing big things out there in Hamlin County, Morristown. So
shout out to
actually got me.
Wow.
Yeah, got me a little T-shirt.
Shout out to MA3, recruiting coordinator, former Carter Hornet, great athlete, 3-star athlete, or 3-sport athlete, not a 3-star. He was a 5-star all the way. And now former Carson Newman pitching coach, now at Walter State, had the Senators a win away from the championship game. So
soon to be father as well, expecting a little boy, I think, coming up in a couple of months.
Lord, God help us.
MAB the 4th.
MA3 and 4. I need to get Mark on here sometime. I need to get him on here to talk baseball. Maybe I can get him on here if Tennessee goes to Omaha.
He's knowledgeable, that's for sure.
Yeah, he is. He's, in all seriousness, the guy knows pitching. So, so Southern Miss took down Army, LSU, and Kennesaw State in Hattiesburg. Ole Miss took down Arizona, Miami, and Canisius in Coral Gables. And then on the Tennessee side of I left one out. Auburn, the 14 seed, traveling to Corvallis to take on Oregon State, the 3 seed. Auburn beat Southeast Louisiana, UCLA, and Florida State. A lot of big names in that series, but those Florida State and UCLA aren't what they used to be. And then Oregon State took down New Mexico State, San Diego, and you just hate to see it, Vanderbilt.
Oh,
The Vandy boys are back at home. Too bad.
the Candy Boys.
Then on the Tennessee side, you've got Virginia Tech hosting Oklahoma. Virginia Tech's the 4 seed. Oklahoma went to Gainesville and took down Florida, Liberty, and Central Michigan. Virginia Tech beat Wright State, Gonzaga, and Columbia. Then you've got, this should be a good series. Louisville, the 12 seed, travels to Texas A&M.
Oh yeah.
Louisville beat Southeast Missouri, Oregon, and Michigan. Texas A&M took down Oral Roberts, Louisiana, and TCU. Then you've got, this might be a good series too. East Carolina, the 8 seed, hosting the 9 seed Texas Longhorns. Texas took down Dallas Baptist, Louisiana Tech, and Air Force. East Carolina beat Coppin State, Virginia, and Coastal Carolina. And then obviously you got Tennessee, Notre Dame. Notre Dame beat Texas Tech, Georgia Southern, UNC Greensboro, and obviously Tennessee helped eliminate Alabama State, Campbell, and Georgia Tech. So it should be a good weekend of
So
NCAA baseball.
in theory, we could play. So if we beat Notre Dame, we could play Texas in the next round, right?
Yes, because it would be 1 versus 8 or 9 at that
And
point.
then potentially we could play Texas A&M in the next round,
Correct.
and then potentially play Arkansas in the championship game.
Correct.
That's the way I want it to go.
Yeah.
I want to go on a revenge tour and play everybody that we said, oh, we all just missed out on playing A&M in Arkansas. I want to beat Texas because they beat us in the beginning of the year and they put us out last year. I want to stomp their ass in the ground. And then I want to play Texas A&M, and I want to stomp their ass in the ground. And then I want to play Arkansas, and I want there to be blood.
So I'm going to refrain from talking any College World Series until we beat Notre Dame. But
Okay.
yes, you are correct talking about the bracket. But I'm not talking about any more College World Series. The Vols got to get there first. As you can see on TV, Big Montana's already getting an early rally dip in.
Let's go.
So do you think Tennessee advances to the College World Series for the 2nd year in a row? Did they take down Notre Dame in Knoxville this weekend?
I do. I don't see anybody beating Tennessee in Knoxville 2 out of 3 games.
I agree. I think Tennessee wins this one in 2.
It's going to be rowdy. I mean, Notre Dame, there's not going to be that many fans here from Notre Dame, I don't think. Maybe. It's going to be rowdy.
I think Tennessee takes them down in 2, to be honest. I don't think it even makes it to Sunday.
I don't know. I think I think it'll be a closer games than what we would like for it to be. But I think we handle business.
I told the guy that sat next to us, he was like, we've piddled around and let them hang around. And I was like, buddy, we average 9 runs a game. We've got 8. And then we scored 9 on Sunday. It was just, we were playing some better offenses and they strung some hits together, got to our pitching. But normally our pitching is going to give up 2, 3, 4 runs at the max. So
what was funny was when Tennessee got down 4-0 in both games, I guess 2-0, whatever it was.
It's 2-0 against Campbell and 4-0 Georgia Tech.
Yeah. I think they're down 4-0 against Campbell too, right?
Yeah, no, you may be right. They were.
Yeah. Everybody's freaking out, like, oh my God. I'm like, guys, 4 runs isn't going to beat these teams anyway. We're going to have to hit. You don't want to be down 4 runs, but we're more than capable of, and we did. We jumped out real quick after that. So
yeah, we were down. We were down 4 to Campbell after 3, and then answered with 3 in the top of the 4th.
Yeah, I was watching it with Lily, and I was like, "Hey, watch this! This guy's about to hit one out of the park." Is when Gilbert got up, hit that 3 run, and she looked at me like I was God. I'm like, I just kind of figured it was going to happen because he was swinging for a home run, nothing else.
Yeah, that's what I told Thomas Saturday. I told him Sunday too. You got in college baseball, you got to score more than 4 runs. But yeah. I looked at him and I tweeted it Saturday. I thought the Vols were in trouble Saturday too because of the way I wasn't sure our bullpen was going to come in and be able to shut them down the way they were hitting, but they did. And then Sunday, I thought we were in real trouble because they could not get to that starter. I mean, and they
Right.
were rolling
he was
over
stud.
balls, and
I just kept waiting. I was like, okay, this guy's got to go out. And like I said, man, if he pitched one more inning, it may have been the end of it. But
so I think we both got Tennessee advancing to the College World Series. Do you think Tennessee wins both games Friday, Saturday, or do they go to Sunday?
I think they win both games. I think they're going to feel bad for beating the Catholics, and they're going to need to go repent a little bit on Sunday morning. So they're going to put an extra 20 in the offering plate and say a couple of Hail Marys for them. But they're going to take care of business on Friday and Saturday.
So right before the game I guess it was Friday morning, it came out, Tennessee unveiled concepts, as they say here, of renovations to Lindsey Nelson Stadium. Have you looked at those?
I have. I thought they were really neat. I think I read somewhere that they're looking for anywhere from 65 to 85.
Something like
capacity.
That. Yeah, which is perfect.
Yeah, I like that. It'll make it to where, tickets will still be $40 or $50 for good games. The demand will, it'll be able to seat the demand. And then for games like this, they're going to have a lot of standing room only, which they'll be able to sell, several tickets for that. It just makes it to where, it's ridiculous. These tickets are going for $300 and $400 a pop.
Yeah.
It's silly. You're absolutely crazy to pay that.
No, you are. It's my aunt Melody was talking the other night. I was like, let's go to the games this weekend. My uncle's like, where are you going to find tickets? Seriously, They're $300 and $400 a pop trying to get in that place, which is great. But
yeah, that reminds me, if Thomas Raines has 2 extra tickets, he can holler at your boy.
Yeah, I don't know why he didn't, because it ended up, I think he did, but I didn't know this.
Thomas, honey.
I don't know what he was doing there, but
I'll buy him some Cracker Jacks.
I guess he wanted some leg room.
Well, I'll let him sit on my lap. He liked that.
He got his comeuppance, though. He got a bad Petro. And I also got the Petro looked awful.
Oh,
and
really?
I got an Italian sausage, and it was, my tummy hurt Sunday night.
Gosh.
I had a gut ache, bubble gut, whatever you want to call it. It was bad. But no, I'm excited looking at these. I haven't sat down and really read them, dug into them. But they're talking about, they're doing surveys right now. They sent out things that you can fill out and answer or put a deposit down for whether it be regular seats, box seats, tabletops. So it's, I just looking at the designs, if you haven't looked at them, go look them up online. It looks more like a college baseball stadium than what we've got right now.
It's really, really nice. Just the extra seating, I think, is going to be crucial. They're talking about doing this in 24 starting.
It won't be next year. So I think anything that would be done would be after the 2023 season, which is what they're kind of wanting to get things lined up right now, get things planned out, see what the demand is. They said they could reduce what they're doing or add to it, depending on what the demand is. But I think they want to move pretty quickly, get things in line so they can start getting permits and all that stuff set up for the after next season, which would be the 2023 season. So, look for that. I don't know if the entire thing would be done before the 2024 season, but I think 2024 is when you're going to see a lot of renovations come to fruition at Lindsey Nelson.
Speaking of renovations, what do you think about the process in Neyland right now?
I saw a picture I don't know if it was last week or 2 weeks ago, where they put up the steel beams there on the bottom of the west side to start that. So that's coming along. They should be done. I actually know someone whose company is involved in that. And when they were asked when it would be done, they said it'll be ready for opening day. They didn't say a date though, but it'll be ready for opening day.
they better hope for the sod they put down. That's going to be the thing, because like if they don't get that down and let it sit for a month or at least 3 weeks, come October, that thing's going to be brown.
Yeah, I think they're probably getting close to being ready to put that down, I would assume.
I hope so.
Because, I mean, I don't know. I haven't been in there. I need to sneak in there one day. They're also working on the Jumbotron in the south end zone, putting a new video board on that one. So they've got a big crane up right now. So they've had the gate 10 ramp blocked off, but I think as soon as they clear that off, I'm going to try to sneak over there one day, like I did around spring break, and get in there and take some pictures. But I think they've got the north end zone done. They're just waiting to put the video board up once I think they get the south end zone done. And then I assume they've started working on the party deck there where our seats used to be. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. They're going to be done, but you know, they're coming up. It's getting crunch time because it's almost mid-June and we play in 2.5 months. So they got their work cut out for them.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, I'm kind of nervous about it.
I don't think that the West Side club level seats are going to be totally done by the time. There's still going to be some stuff that's incomplete. I think if I've read correctly, they're not going to have like the underneath stuff totally done by the time the season starts.
Right.
But they will have the seating done. But I think for the 2023 season, all that will be done. But I don't see how it would be done between now and September 1st, unless it's something they work on throughout the season, but that gets a little difficult. But yeah, I think the outside will be ready to go. It's just the inside club part that they're building probably won't be ready to go.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see. It'll look different in there with the party deck and the new seats. You probably won't be able to tell as much with the new seats. It'll look a little different, but probably a little more spread out. But I'm interested to see when they start working on the south end zone, east side a little bit, because that's like the last part of the stadium they've not touched in decades, and it really needs it.
Yeah, it's pretty hood down there.
Yeah, it's like seriously taking us. I think Gavin and I talked about it on one show weeks and months ago. It's like taking a step back in time when you walk through there. It's like going back to the 70s. I mean, seriously, it's 50, 60 years old. So
there's a bunch of stuff falling apart. Paint that's been painted over 19 times. It's got an inch of paint on the doors and all that stuff. So it's kind of weird.
Well, they're doing some work to all the facilities at Tennessee, so that's good to see. Because
whenever you win championships, you can do that kind of stuff.
And in today's college football world, I know NIL is a big deal, but there's also a lot to say about the facilities you play in, the stadiums, and other stuff on campus. So, got to keep that up. So, what about the Celtics before we get out of here? Where do they stand right now?
They did what they had to do. They had still won at Golden State. They did that the first game. Absolutely shut down the Warriors in the fourth quarter. The Warriors returned the favor in game 2, which I kind of thought they would. Boston is 6-0 in the playoffs for following a loss, so I'm going to go with them to win game 3. And if they can win game 4, if they can win the 2 games at home, I think they've got like a 75% chance of winning. But Golden State, man, Steph Curry and Poole and Green, like those guys they're dogs, man. Like I was really surprised that Boston came back and won game 1. That was really, really impressive, and they just shot the lights out in the second half.
So it's 1-1. They go back to Boston is that Wednesday night this week?
Tomorrow night they play game 3 and 4 there. Game 5 is back at San Fran, and then they go back to Boston for game 6. So, and then San Fran for game 7, I guess, if necessary.
Well, good luck to your Celtics. I know you watched them. You felt like a double champion on the day Tennessee
did,
won
man.
the SEC baseball title.
Yeah, I woke up Monday and I was like, you know what? Like, what championship am I going to win today? And I just decided I was going to be a champion of life and lay on the
Champion of
couch
life.
and watch TV all day.
So that's 1-1. Some other Tennessee non-baseball news. Tennessee basketball, they announced a neutral site game. They're going back to Brooklyn to take on the Maryland Terrapins.
Yes.
It's the Hall of Fame event, whatever they call that. They're in Brooklyn where the Nets play. They'll take on Maryland. I don't see the date for that. I'm assuming it's sometime before Christmas.
Yeah, it's like December 19th or something like that, I think I saw.
Yes, December 11th. Hall of Fame Invitational Barclays Center. Sorry, I looked right over it. It's a quadruple header of games that weekend or that day. Oklahoma State, Virginia Tech, Iona, St. Bonaventure, and UMass and Hofstra. So I guess you could say Tennessee, Maryland is the main event of that event. So
it's just one game, right? It's not a tournament, right?
No, it's just one game. Tennessee will play Maryland on that Sunday, December 11th. I'm thinking their schedule, but the basketball schedule should be out here in the next month or so. Usually comes out June, July. Tennessee's going to I think Atlantis for that tournament, which has got a loaded field. Kansas, a lot of good teams in that. So they're going down there. Don't know who they're going to play in the Big 12 SEC Challenge. You assume it's going to be somebody good from the Big 12.
Right.
And then you've got, I'm sure they're going to have some more road games. You know, I said this a couple shows ago. I kind of wish they would get that Wisconsin series back going, which they may do it, but.
Yeah, I can't tell you how they're going to start, but I can tell you how they're going to finish. Round 2.
Somebody, Tennessee was losing.
Yeah.
Tennessee was losing Saturday night. And I can't remember if it was the guy next to me or somebody that walked by. I said, "Is Rick Barnes here?" Because it technically is the second round. They were down 4-0, but somebody I think commented back like, "No, Barnes must not be here. They jumped ahead." So
there you go.
I thought of you immediately, and I'm sure there was smart asses on Twitter that were tweeting that too.
There were several. I saw lots of Rick Barnes coaching tweets.
Hey, non-sports thing here. The national average of a gallon of gas is $4.91 today. How about that?
Woo. I paid $4.69 today, $125 to fill up my truck.
But Biden says people are more confident ever in their personal finances.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
I mean, that's like that quote we said that Gavin talked about a few weeks ago. They wrote an article. I don't know which liberal nuts it was, either Washington Post or New York Times, that said inflation is a good thing.
Yeah, it's great. I talked to a guy today. He owns a trucking company, like a freight company, and he said that his bill last month for fuel, of course it was diesel, so $1 more, was $120,000 the month of May. And that's when fuel was $4.09, $4.18. Now it's jumped up 40 cents in the past 2 weeks.
I mean, we drove to Hoover to go to that game, and I think the cheapest gas we got was $4.12. And it's jumped up like 15 cents since then in a week and a half, maybe more. Biden did say, he said the economy's great. You just aren't noticing it. You just don't notice it because it's, what a buffoon. What a joke. I miss this guy right here.
Man, I do too.
Low gas prices, law and order. Southern border was in control.
Low interest rates.
No
war.
Stock market was booming. No war. No threats of war overseas.
Sad.
But he said mean things to people, and he was a racist. He was a racist, supposedly.
Hey, I found out something today, listening to a podcast. Apparently, the whole Jackie Robinson, like, racial slur, the guy, the player, what was the guy's name?
Josh Donaldson.
No, the guy he called Jackie.
Oh, Anderson.
Anderson called himself Jackie Robinson.
Yeah,
And
he said it in
then-
an article.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
He
okay.
called
It
himself.
makes it even worse.
He said
It
he
makes
was
it
the
even worse
next Jackie Robinson, not that he was breaking the color barrier, but by how he played the game.
Yeah. It'd be like, if we're playing church league softball or something, and I said, I'm the next Babe Ruth, and I get up there and strike out. Everybody's going to call me Babe for the rest of my life. Like, how stupid was that?
I mean, I really think Donaldson, I can't speak for him, but I mean, you joke around a lot.
I think he was like being a smart ass, but I think it had nothing to do with race. Apparently Stephen A. Smith stuck up for him too, said it had nothing to do with race.
Yeah, it's pretty bad when Stephen A. Smith is like, ESPN may fire him over that if they're not careful.
Yeah.
What about before we go, what about ESPN and the Evan Russell thing? And they said, so we didn't talk about this. Let's go back.
Yeah.
Evan Russell, Tennessee's 6-year senior catcher, did not play in Friday night's game against Alabama State. It came out before the game. Tony Vitello said he's not going to play because he's not feeling well.
Right.
All these rumors start swirling. Was he drunk? Was he hungover? I saw one that said he missed BP and the team kicked him out. Then I saw one, the PED thing was going around. Then I saw he failed the drug test. That was the big one that was going around.
Yeah.
And there was Tony Basilio was saying it. I mean, he was at, my sources say that Evan Russell has failed a PED test. I was hearing it from different people. And then this clown on ESPN got his info apparently from an Arkansas fan and said that Evan Russell had failed a PED test, and then they were going to test the whole team.
So I went down the rabbit hole on it on Twitter, and it was just a random guy. And I don't blame that guy for nothing because he was just trolling on Twitter, and he wrote it in all caps. Like, it wasn't like he didn't change his picture to a sports reporter. Like, it was just his just dumbass Arkansas fan, photo. And it said, Evan Russell's failed a drug test. He's gone for the rest of the season. And it just got a lot of traction. Arkansas fans kept on retweeting it. Well, eventually, the guy felt bad, and he tweeted Evan Russell's sister and his dad and was like, hey, this was just me having a fun time. There was no, malice to it. I was just, just goofing off. And I started thinking, how many times have we said something, about, somebody, the coach's wife at Florida kissing the players and stuff and all that. What if ESPN took that and said, well, she's having an affair with one of the players? It's basically
it's the same thing. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just, it was crazy to me that all that was going around. And I know Gavin listens to Basilio. I'm not a huge Basilio fan. His after game stuff can be pretty good, especially after a loss. But he's a conspiracy theory guy. He always says this stuff that he hears, and 3/4 of it never comes true. But there's people I was walking back to the car Saturday night after the Campbell game, and a guy was walking to his car listening to him on his phone. But then he had a guy next to me listening to Russell Smith's post game, which is why I've tried to do a couple spaces after a game, and it's useless because everybody's listening to one of those two guys. But I just thought that was it was bad. It was a bad look for Basilio, bad look for ESPN.
Right. And I'm glad that Russell was all right. Apparently what I heard was it had nothing to do, it was an anxiety attacks, but it had nothing to do with sports. It was something in his personal life. His dad put out something on Twitter too that made you think it was a family issue or something. So I don't know if somebody in their family's sick, or he's had something happen in his personal life with a girlfriend or whatever. But luckily we had a guy come out and took his place and did a pretty good job.
Charlie, he got a
Charlie had
standing ovation.
He had a nice little bunt.
Almost hit one out
Mm-hmm.
in the Alabama State game. But
Yep.
yeah, I don't know. They said he had anxiety. He was stressed out. I don't know. I think Tennessee didn't handle it right. They should have just came out early before the game and said, "Hey,
Yeah,
Evan Russell's under the weather."
I didn't like how he said he would talk about it after the game, because it made it like it was a disciplinary thing.
Yeah.
I feel like he should just. I mean, I understand why he didn't want to come out and say, "Hey, he's dealing with some mental stuff or something like that," because it's really not his place to say it. I like that he said he was sick. I mean, because he kind of was. I think it was Evan Russell or his dad or whoever's place to say it anyway. But
yeah, just come out before the game, say he's under the weather. It's not COVID related. He's just not feeling well. We're going to sit him tonight. He's going to rest.
Yeah.
They didn't need him against Alabama State. That's the thing. But I think they did a bad job. They let it fester.
Yeah.
And they should have just come out early and put it to bed. But that was their fault. But then that's no excuse. I'm not excusing ESPN for what they did. And they came out with their generic, "We're sorry. We had some basically fake news."
Apparently they did reach out to Danny White, like, personally. I was listening to something on the way home today, and they reached out to him personally and apologized also, besides the generic on the air reading the teleprompter thing. So,
well, it definitely made the game Friday night a lot more eventful, because it was 10-0 blowout. But the whole game, you got on social media or talking to people like, "What's going on with Russell?"
Right.
So, all right. Well, big weekend for the Vols on the Diamond coming up. Notre Dame coming to town, the Fighting Irish. We've seen them here before, not in baseball, but in football and women's basketball. So, first time I think they've played here in baseball ever. So, Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish, coming to town. Vols are going to take them down in 2, we both say.
Yep.
And
I just hate Notre Dame in general. Rudy sucked. I mean, like, I just don't see the draw. It's not 1970 anymore.
It's just they're just that Yankees type brand for whatever reason.
Who cares?
I don't do it for me, but
I would like to go to a game there though.
Yeah, that's a home and home. I wish Tennessee would get back. Them in football, UCLA, and maybe Wisconsin is too. I know we've never done a home and home with Wisconsin, but I think having Notre Dame back on the schedule, that needs to happen. It's been, I think the last time we played them was 2005.
Yeah.
Up there. So it's been 17 years since we played them. We used to play them on a pretty regular basis.
Yeah.
78, 79, 91, 92.
What do you think about the new SEC layout, the 9-game season? Or 9 game. I mean,
I'm for 9 games, and I
think they're going to end up canceling the Nebraska game over it though, because why would we want to play somebody else and play the SEC teams?
Maybe. They've already moved that around once, so I don't know that they'll do it again. But
I don't see a schedule in any other powerhouse like that though, with playing 9 games. I mean, I think that's kind of stupid.
I think what they, and this goes for every power. I think Power 5 should only play Power 5. I don't like these Tennessee Tech, UT Martin games. They're pointless. Yeah. They give money to those little schools, but they're useless. They're just scrimmage games basically to get reps in. But there's plenty of Power 5 schools in these other conferences that you can play. But I think in the SEC, with Oklahoma and Texas coming in, they're going to need to go to 9 games, just because there's going to be teams, if you don't, that you won't see for decades.
12 years,
12, 14 years. I mean, right now we're going to LSU this fall. The last time Tennessee was in LSU in Baton Rouge was 2011. So it's been 11 years since Tennessee's been down there. I'm not hung up on Tennessee playing Alabama every year. I mean, I
I'm not
know
either.
it's the third Saturday in October, but name another school that has to play Alabama, Georgia, and I know they're not as good right now, but Florida. We play those
Yeah.
three teams
Well,
every single year.
We're against the wall as soon as we start because we have to play Bama. Florida and Georgia never do play each other at their away stadium. It's always a neutral site game.
Always neutral.
So it's BS. So I don't care. Like, I understand the history and all this, the pageantry, but I could care less about playing Alabama every year.
I'm surprised, and I know they haven't finalized anything, but there was a lot of talk coming out of the SEC meetings last week. I'm surprised that the 14 pod system didn't get more play than it did. I think they've pushed it away pretty much.
So we are gonna have a common game every year, right? Or a couple.
I think it would be you play 8. I don't know. I think it would be one permanent maybe.
I think they're gonna make our permanent be Vanderbilt.
I mean, that would be
because
if they do it by rivals, they have to.
Yeah, because Georgia, Florida, Bama,
Georgia,
Auburn,
Florida, right? Yeah,
and you also got Georgia and Auburn. I think Tennessee, Kentucky could be. If I was going to play 3 teams every year, I'd want it to be Kentucky, Vandy, and Florida.
So that's why I like the pod system because you could almost do it geographically and still be fine, but you could have, say, Tennessee, Kentucky, South Carolina, and Florida in a pod. Yeah. And then you could have Georgia, Auburn, Alabama, and
LSU,
Vanderbilt in a pod.
Wow.
And then you could go with Missouri, Arkansas, LSU, and one of the Mississippis, and then have another Mississippi with Texas, Oklahoma, and Texas A&M. And that leaves that old Big 12 group together.
Yeah,
a Big 8, whatever they used to be. And then you've got some, Tennessee, Vanderbilt. Who cares? Nobody cares. I mean, we dominated that series. I forgot about Kentucky, so you'd have Kentucky in there somewhere, but
right.
I don't know. They're going to keep Auburn and Alabama together. That's for sure. They're going to keep the Mississippis together. I think Florida and Georgia would need to stay together. I'm guessing LSU, Arkansas would probably need to stay together, but especially with Texas and OU coming in, they're either going to play each other or you're going to have OU, A&M, OU, Texas. One of those. I think probably more than likely it will be OU and Texas. And then Missouri's just kind of out. Missouri and Kentucky's just kind of out there. So and South Carolina too.
South Carolina, same way.
They don't really have. I mean, South Carolina's always started the year with Georgia, but they're in the same division. But then you've got other rivalries that may go away that aren't played on an annual basis, like Auburn and Georgia, the South's oldest rivalry. That might go away. You've got Florida, LSU. That might go away. You got Tennessee, Vandy, Tennessee, Kentucky that might go away. Tennessee, Georgia,
right,
might go away. Then you've got Alabama, LSU. What happens with that? That's always been a big game,
right?
I know Texas A&M and Arkansas the last few years have been playing the Southwest Classic at Dallas or at AT&T Stadium.
Right.
So there's a lot of things that people are going to balk on or not want to go with because it interrupts tradition. And then what have you got? You've got some of these schools that play in-state rivals at the end of the year. Like you got Georgia Tech. Mm-hmm. They're not going to want to get rid of that. South Carolina and Clemson not going to get rid of each other. Kentucky, Louisville.
Florida, FSU.
Florida State. So there's a lot to work out on scheduling.
I would like to replace one of our Tennessee Tech games with Memphis. I think it would be awesome.
I mean, that's fine. I mean, Memphis is not a Power 5 program, but I mean they're not a Tennessee Tech or an MTSU or I mean they are a mid-major Division I program. So play them or play MTSU. Don't play Tennessee Tech, who's 1AA, or we're playing Akron this year. They're Division I. They're FCS FBS, but I mean, really?
Yeah.
The Zips? I mean, come on. But everybody's doing it right now. That's the schedule's format. So, I mean, you pay these teams to come in here and beat them by 3 and 4 touchdowns, maybe more. So we'll see how that goes. They've got a lot to figure out over the next couple of years. I don't think anything's been decided, but think about it in basketball. They're going to have 14 teams now instead of 16 teams instead of 14 to figure out.
Ball state line coming out today, 31.5.
Nice. The Thursday night game, already deep into planning tailgating for that.
Good.
We'll see. They haven't. The university hasn't put anything out about road tickets or parking assignments yet. So waiting on that. But Section YY8 will be going on the road this year to Pittsburgh, Baton Rouge, Columbia, South Carolina, maybe Athens, Georgia. Probably not, but we'll see. Maybe. Depends on how the season's going. But definitely Columbia, South Carolina, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Big group going to Louisiana. Right now I'm counting about 20, and the number's growing by the day. So if you're listening to this, you want to go to LSU, you better let us know quick. ASAP as possible.
That's right. YOLO.
All right. Well, that's this week's show. Tennessee takes on Notre Dame this weekend at Lindsey Nelson Stadium with a trip to the College World Series on the line. We'll be back next week to break it down. Hopefully we've got Day Vol back, Davey Albright. He is I think he's traveling back from Hawaii. Is that correct right now?
Yeah, he's in California right now, apparently.
Oh,
gonna go see Mickey.
He's going to Pedo Land.
Yeah. Yeah. Shit.
But Davey's had it rough the last week or so. He's been in Hawaii, bless his heart.
I've been talking to him. He's been texting me.
He texted us the other day and showed us a picture of where he was at. So trying to make us feel bad. But hopefully he'll be back next week. We got to get Gavin back on here. I know if you know Gavin, you listen to the show and you know him, call him and talk to him. Tell him we need him back on the show, that everybody misses him. The show is suffering without him.
I kind of feel bad because, this whole Evan Russell deal, Gavin could be doing something similar, And
we still haven't seen Kirby Cannell and Gavin Julian in the same room.
He might be on a team lockdown right now.
It might be.
Staying ready.
It makes sense.
It does.
I mean, he came trotting out of the bullpen the other night, and I was like, my God, that's Gavin trotting out.
That's Gavin.
I've seen him run.
That's Gavin with the wig.
Yeah. And a mustache.
Horse ride a cowboy.
And a mustache.
Gavin's favorite song.
All right. Well, I appreciate everybody listening. Big Montana, appreciate you as well. Remember, you can find our show anywhere you listen to podcasts now, whether that's Apple, Google, Spotify, Listen Notes, wherever. You can go to your Alexa now and say, Alexa, play Section YY8 podcast, and she'll do it. So you can listen to us there. We're also on YouTube. I post a video a day or two later. So if you're watching this, thanks for watching us on YouTube. We've had a few followers join us on there. So if you're watching us on YouTube, make a comment down below, like the show that week, and you can go back and watch a few other shows. I haven't put them all on there, but leave comments and likes. We would appreciate it. But we'll be back next week on the Section YY8 podcast.